My work essentially is is pop art. However, it's also expressionistic, and in saying that, there's there's an influence there of urban art as well. There's an urban feel to my work. I'm a colorist. The colors are important. My influences vary. I mean, my influences are, yes, all the pop artists, the Hockneys, the Warhols, the Jasper Johns, the Larry Rivers, the Rauschenbergs. A lot of the beat poets have influenced my work, and the list goes on. But essentially, I'd like to think of myself as a pop painter with an eye and a feel for colour, but in a very expressionistic kind of a way. My favourite painter when I was growing up was Matisse and Picasso, and I was always influenced extensively by their colours and the way they put colours and were able to juxtapose colours, and that influenced me quite a lot. The central theme for this particular exhibition was LA. Initially, I looked at LA pop and the pop images that came out of Los Angeles, the 60s, and they really excited me. That then evolved into that whole notion of LA as the celebrity capital of the world, and then that lent itself into that whole mass production and branding, which is Hollywood and Los Angeles, and that's where my work is at the moment. My show's called Galaxy Cattle, and the thinking behind that was I like that whole surrealist image, this cattle in the sky, but what's interesting is that stars sort of are in the sky, and Hollywood and LA is where stars are, and so it was all these stars following each other, and I kind of like that idea because all stars sort of congregate in LA. And so it was a very nice kind of play on words, that Galaxy Cattle. I like to juxtapose images with words, and just when the viewer thinks that they've worked things out, I like to cross things out and not make it that easy for the viewer. Or I like to sometimes allow the viewer into an image directly through the word. So, I play quite a bit with words because words are so powerful and they have such importance, and we place so much importance on words. And I feel that the minute you put a visual and a verbal together, you've got double the impact. For instance here, Gills River. Yeah. Gills River, I mean, fish, this is the way my mind operates. See, fish have gills, and I just could have called it could have just been a river, but it's Gills River because there's so many fish that are transcending down that river, that stream. So I've just called it Gills River, and it means to me that it's a series or a school of fish traveling down the river together. But the way I've painted it here, I want my audience to interpret that. I want my audience to kind of think, what does he mean by gills? Gills and fish, they go together. Gills in a river. Is he talking about fish floating down a stream together with their gills open? Or is he talking about Gills River, which is a location somewhere? Is he saying, feed your coward? Is he saying that we're all cowards in this can't cope culture? Is he saying that we're all cowards in this pop a pill culture? Or is he saying, feed your cow? I mean, is this a cash cow? And if it is a cash cow, is it number 5 cash cow of cash cows? And is cow representative of meat? Or is the cow standing on hole number 4 as we're playing our game on as we're playing our leisure activities on a week-to-week basis or weekend basis? So there's a lot of these things that kind of operate on my mind, and the works are complex. They're complex to me, but I want the viewer to look into the work. I want the viewer to examine the words. I want the viewer to put the words together and see the way that they juxtapose each other and see the messages that come out of it. This work here, which is a feature work, is the Galaxy Cattle work. And, in it, I've got Alien up the top, but I've got Ali versus Fraser alive. Now, Ali versus Fraser is, possibly one of 5 of the best world fights in history, and everybody knows who Muhammad Ali is. So that work is very, very important that I've put that in there, that whole notion of alien and that whole thing of being alive. And this is Galaxy, and Galaxy is also connected to LA Galaxy, where David Beckham plays, and Galaxy is where stars go and stars are and where stars exist. But I've got Galaxy cattle, and cattle all follow each other, and everybody follows each other in Hollywood because that's just the system which is Hollywood. So this became a very, very important part. And for me, that was an exciting work. And that's what I first started when I started painting the series. That was the first work. And for me, that was very exciting because the elements of what is LA pop were there without actually being to LA pop. The elements were there, the influence was there. I try to incorporate all those influences in my work. So my work, to a certain degree, is very urban, and it's very now, and it's it's very street for that reason, because this is the way we're living. I'm interested to see where my work will go in the next 10, 15, 20 years, but I don't see that it will be much different. I think that my subject matter will be similar, but far more complex, and hopefully with maturity and growth and years, my images will be stronger.